Luton, Rotherham and Stevenage are all projected to do poorly in the first season of Football Manager 2024. Luton are projected to finish in 19th, Rotherham are predicted to finish in 24th, and Stevenage are projected to finish in 17th. In this video, I'm going to look at a plug and play tactic and test it out with all three teams as we look to see if the tactic can help them all beat the drop. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you another Knap tactic. This one is the Wheels of Fire 4-5-1. Once again, I'm going to put it in the hands of Luton, Rotherham and Stevenage, three teams that are predicted to be relegated from their leagues, to see if this tactic can save them from the drop. As always, if you're familiar with the tactic and you just want to see the results, feel free to skip this part of the video. If you want the tactic and just want to get on with it, there will be a link to that in the description down below. The only thing it will cost you is hitting the subscribe button and maybe dropping a like on the video. But if you're not familiar with the tactic and you want to see it, we're going to break it down. Let's start off with the sweeper keeper at the back. You'll have a back four that consists of a wing back on the left set to support, two ball playing defenders set to defend, and on the right hand side a wing back on support. You'll have a defensive midfielder set to support, two central midfielders both set to support, on the left hand side an inside forward set to attack, and another one on the right. And at the top of the pitch, you will have an advanced forward set to attack. So as with most Knap tactics, this comes with a custom tiki-taka tactical style. Its mentality is set to attacking. Its in possession will look like this. Its in transition will look like this. And its out of possession will look like this. So that's the tactic and the breakdown. As I said, we have run a single sim season with Luton, Rotherham and Stevenage. Let's have a look at some results to show you how this tactic has got on. To kick us off with the results, we are going to look at Luton Town, and we can see that they have managed to finish in 7th place in the Premier League, finishing just 1 point behind Arsenal and qualifying themselves for the Europa League. In the FA Cup, they would get knocked out in the 3rd round by Notts Forest, and in the Carabao Cup, they would finish in the 2nd round, being knocked out by Swansea City. If we look at the Premier League and break that down in a bit more detail then, so they would play 38 league games, they would win 16 of those, they would draw 13, they would lose 9, they would have a goal difference of 17, and they would finish on 61 points. As I said, only finishing 1 point behind Arsenal, who finished in 6th. However, they did finish 14 points behind Tottenham, who would finish in 5th place, and they would finish 36 points behind Liverpool, who would go on and win the league. If we look at the squad to see how the goals and the assists were shared around, so we had Jacob Brown with 22 goals and 2 assists. Chong had 11 goals and 8 assists. Ogbeni would have 10 goals and 10 assists. We'd have Ryan Giles with 9 goals and 9 assists. Further down, you'd have Ross Barkley chipping in with 2 goals and 7 assists. If we look at the data hub to crunch some numbers, starting off with the team defending, you'd have goals conceded per game 1.29, XG per game 1.23, 8 clean sheets, 74.36 tackles won ratio, opposition passes per defensive action was 4.22, 3,674 possession won, final third passes per game was 53.26 and fouls made per game was 15.26. Looking at some attacking numbers, goals per game 1.74, non-penalty XG was 1.81, shots per game 13.11, shots on target ratio was just 43.57, dribbles per game 17.8, cross completion 15.05, pass completion ratio 87.38, and fouls against per game 11.47. There are a few other numbers and little bits of information on this screen. If you want to look at those, feel free to pause the video now. Right then, Luton Town have started us off with a brilliant campaign. 7th in the Premier League, qualifies them for the Europa League. Next up, we have moved on to Rotherham, and you can see Rotherham have managed to finish 8th place in the Sky Bet Championship. In the FA Cup, they were knocked out in the 3rd round by Stoke, and in the Carabao Cup, they were knocked out in the 2nd round by Huddersfield. If we look at the Championship in a bit more detail, we can see that to finish in 8th place, they would play 46 games, they would win 20 of those games, they would draw 11, lose 15 times, have a goal difference of 24, and would finish on 71 points. Now, they would finish 2 points behind Sunderland, who finished in 7th. They would finish a long way, 13 points behind Leicester, who would go up through the playoffs, and they would finish miles behind, 34 points behind Norwich, who would win the league. If we go into the squad to see how the goals and assists were shared around then, Arvin Appiah would get 17 goals and 9 assists. You had Georgie Kelly with 15 goals and 2 assists. You'd have Cafu with 7 goals and 7 assists. You'd have Andre Green with 5 goals and 8 assists. Sam Clucas with 3 goals and 9 assists. So pretty much shared out across the group. If we go into the data hub to show you those numbers, team defending then, 1.37 conceded per game, XG 1.14 per game, clean sheets of 11, tackles won ratio 78.03, opposition passes per defensive action 4.31, possession won 4410, final third passes per game 45.7, and fouls made per game 15.72. If we look at the attacking numbers, goals per game is 1.89, non-penalty XG is 1.77, shots per game 13.91, shots on target ratio 38.5, dribbles per game 14.8, cross completion 15.15, pass completion ratio is 87.6, fouls against per game is 11.17. Once again, some other numbers on the screen there. If you want to pause the video and have a look at those, feel free to do so. So that's Rotherham now finishing in 8th place, and they are certainly nowhere near the relegation zone, which is where they were forecast, and I think it's a great season for them. The final team we are looking at is Stevenage, and they were projected to be relegated from League One. However, in this test, they would go on and win League One, scoring 99 points from 46 games and winning the league by 11 points. In the FA Cup, they would be knocked out in the 4th round by Brighton. In the Carabao Cup, they would be knocked out in the 3rd round by Brighton. In the English Football League Trophy, they would be knocked out in the Southern Section round by Peterborough United. If we look at Sky Bet League One to see how they have got on then, so they would play 46 times, they would win 30 games, they would draw 9, they would lose 7. They'd have an impressive goal difference of 59, which was by far the best in the league, and they would score 99 points to win the league by an impressive 11 points. Going to the squad to look at how the goals and the assists were shared around then. So Jamie Reid would score 29 goals and chip in with 2 assists. Harry Anderson would score 15 and have 17 assists. You'd have Harvey White with 13 goals and 12 assists. Nick Freeman, 12 assists and 12 goals. Further down, you'd have Jordan Roberts with 10 goals and 13 assists. And even further down than that, at left wing back, Dan Butler would chip in with 21 assists on the season. If we go to the data hub, we can look at some of those numbers as always. So in terms of the defending, conceded per game was 1.24, XG was 1.19, clean sheets of 15, tackles won ratio was 76.76, opposition passes per defensive action was 4.17, possession won 4.568, final third passes per game was 38.2, fouls made per game 15.96. If we go in and look at the attacking numbers, goals per game 2.52, non-penalty XG was 2, shots per game 15.09, shots on target 45.82, dribbles per game 15.85, cross completion 17.88, pass completion ratio 86.18, and fouls against per game 11.37. So this tactic has actually worked wonders for Stevenage. They have gone on and won Sky Bet League One. We have Luton qualifying for the Europa League, and we have Rotherham finishing in a respectable 8th place. Right then, if you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. Secondly, if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, I really would appreciate it. I cannot thank you all enough for the support. Across the past couple of months, it has really been mind-blowing. Before you go, don't forget there are other things on the channel. There are Wonder Kids, hints, tips, tutorials, other tactic videos. There is something for everybody on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. A big thank you for watching. I'll see you on another video very soon.